Alright, back here again with the next part in drawing our first year joinery project. And so this is the assignment that you guys will have. And we'll attach the videos to this by the time you get it. But I wanted to show you this document here. And so what this is called is the first year Woods 1 joinery project, exploded, all that good stuff. But you can see now, this is all the edits, final dimensions. And then the next page really gets into all the dimensions and changes and edits for each single part. And then how those fit together and all that kind of good stuff. And so this document really becomes our master plan for when we're in the woodshop working on this project. And we're going to use it to kind of create our drawings today. So open up Fusion with me. And this may take a second, but I wanted you guys to kind of see the whole process in this video of not just opening the program, but then opening the drawing that you have saved so you can continue to work on it and all that good stuff so that you wouldn't miss any of that. Bear with me here. So you might have yours saved a little bit differently, but you want to kind of navigate this so that you get to wherever you need to be to find that drawing. I believe that mine was in this Woods 1 folder, and there it is. So then we're going to double click that to open it, and there's our drawing. And then usually when I'm working, I like to go ahead and cancel that data panel out so that I have as much of my screen available to me as I possibly can. So here we go. Let's start with making the edits to part A. And so if we want to see the details of that, we can even kind of zoom in here a little bit. And so it's 11.5 long. We already have that part, 3 wide, I already have that. Really all we need to add is this 45-degree angle on here. And so let's go ahead and do that. And so basically what we're going to do here, let me show you a couple things. We need to add the 45-degree angle right up here. And so what we are going to do is we're going to actually, let's open up that part to make the edit. So we can leave this open in this tab, but I'm actually going to open up part A. So I'm going to double click that. And so you guys can see how this will work. And so then what I want to do is I'm going to create a sketch on this surface. So we could go up here and click this, but there's another way to do it. If I right click on that surface, it gives me all these options. And right there, create sketch. And it actually then kind of snaps me around the way we want to go. And now I'm using that surface that I clicked on. And so here we want to create a line. And we know it wants to be on this point and somewhere down here on this line. So I'm just going to end it anywhere for now. And then I'm going to get my dimension tool. And I'm going to say I want this to be 45 degrees. Okay, so from this to this, I'm clicking both lines. And there I have my degrees. So I click to place it, and now I want to then type the numbers and enter. And now that locks that into 45 degrees, and you can see that nothing's moving anywhere. Now I can finish my sketch. I'm going to click the home so that I get kind of zoomed around there. And now I just have to kind of erase that off there. So we're going to go in the solid tools, we're going to go to extrude. And we're going to click on that corner. And we want to push it back away, right? And so then we have some options. You could probably just end it right there and it would be perfect, but there's other ways to do this that kind of make more sense. And so if we go right here, we're in cut, which is where we want to be. Distance, we want to cut all the way through. So we can just change that, and then we know we're never going to have a mistake, and then we hit OK, and you can see that that is then cut away. And now here's kind of the nice thing about this. So if we just hit save, and I'm going to type in miter added. Now this part is saved. I can get rid of it. And now we go back to this assemble drawing that we have, and we see this little yellow exclamation sign up here. So if we click on that just once, I left clicked, basically what it is saying is that you had parts edited, changes made to this, and you need to update them. So when I clicked on that, it then updated it. And you can see that part A is now exactly how we need it to be. And so I'm going to double click on part B, and then I'm going to go back and look at all these changes that I need to make, right? So I got to put a 45 on here. Let's do that first. Okay, and so we're going to right click on this surface, create a sketch. I'm going to hit L on the keyboard for the line tool, there and there. And then I'm going to hit D for dimension, and I want from here to there. Place it out there, 45, enter. So now that one's done. I can hit Finish Sketch. We can extrude that out, so we'll click that. We want it to cut, and we want it to go through all, and hit OK. Alright, so that part's done. And now I have to add this dado cut right here in the middle. It's 7 1/4 up from the bottom, and then 5/8 down, 1 1/4 across the actual dado. Okay, so remember those, 7 1/4 up, 1 1/4, 5/8. So let's go back here, and we can actually use that same sketch that we created right there. So I'm going to double click on that sketch, and now I'm going to do some drawing here. So I hit R for rectangle, and I know it needs to start somewhere on this surface. I'm clicking down low, okay? And then right here, what I can do is that first measurement where it says 1.4. So right now, without clicking anything else, I'm going to just type 1.25, which is 1 1/4. Then I'm going to hit Tab on the keyboard, and this was 5/8. Okay, and then Tab, and now I can hit Enter, and this rectangle is now the size that I need. But I need to dimension it to locate it where I want it to be. So I'm going to click the Dimension tool, and we're going to say that from this bottom edge to this edge right here needs to be 7.25. And enter. Let's double check that. 7 1/4. Alright, that looks good. And so now I can finish that. And I need that rectangle to pull that all the way through. And so what we're going to do is we're going to wake that sketch back up by clicking on toggling that I button. And now I can really extrude this the same way I did this one. So you could do a whole no extrusion if you wanted. But what I'm going to do, and would like you guys to follow along with me here, is this extrusion right here. I'm going to double click that. So this is my timeline down here, right? And it was one profile selected. So I'm going to go click on that, make sure I'm in this one, and I'm going to add that selection to it. So now it says I have 2 profiles selected. And then I'm going to click OK. And now I can put that sketch back to sleep. We don't need it. And you can see that that was extruded the same way this miter was. And now these parts are up to date. Just need to save it. Miter and dado added. And OK. Close it out. This is up here again. Alright, and that worked out good. If you, if this miter popped up and it's facing the wrong way, or this dado's facing the wrong way, we can do some easy changes to spin some things around, to flip them, and I can show you all of that with, in here. Maybe we'll do one wrong on purpose on this one and show you how to change that. So let's kind of flash forward, and we'll do D now. And so if we go back to our drawing here, A, we did the miter, B, we did the miter and this dado. C actually gets left alone, and D gets a couple things done to it. It gets this taken out and this rabbit here cut out of it. And so let's open up part D. And we're going to do those, what do we want to do? Let's do it all on from this top surface here, like where the D is actually written. And we'll pull this down a certain distance, and we'll push this one all the way through. I shouldn't say push-pull, I should say extrude. We'll extrude this one down just 1/4 of an inch, and we'll extrude this one down all the way through. And so we can then make that on any surface. So let's go right up here to this top surface. We're going to right-click, and we're going to create a sketch. And I'm going to start right down here in the bottom. So I hit R for rectangle. And for now, I'm not going to worry about, well, I guess we can be on that surface. So let's go ahead and type 1.25, and tab over 3 is right, and hit Enter. And so now that rectangle is where we need it to be. I can hit R for rectangle again and just draw it anywhere on here. Make sure it's on this surface, and we can draw it out anywhere. And then we're going to do some dimensioning. So they're saying that from this top edge to this is 6, from the bottom edge to this is 7 1/4. and that should leave us with 1 1/4 inches from there to there. And then it goes 1.5 inches in from this edge right here into the middle 1.5 inches. And so I can either use the 7 1/4 or the 6. 6 is easier, so I'm going to go with 6. So from this top edge to this is 6. Okay, and then from here to here needs to be 1.25. And there's a couple ways we can do this. We'll just do a simple dimension. So from this to this would be 1.5 and enter. We could have done like a snap to a midpoint and things like that, but we don't. Let's just stick with what you guys have been using. And so now we're done with this sketch. We can hit Finish Sketch, and then let's get a home view. And now we have to do 2 separate extrusions here. Let's start with this one. So again, we want to cut, so I'm just going to start steering it down so that it knows that we want to cut. And we do have to go to a distance this time. And we just need to go to the distance of -0.25. You can see that that's cut. But I wasn't done using that sketch, so I'm going to wake that back up. And now I'm going to create a new extrusion. And we are going to cut. And we're going to go all the way through. And now that's done, and I can kind of hide that sketch again. And so this part's now got all the edits made to it, but we have to save it. And let's say lap and rabbit added. I know that this is not how you spell the name, the rabbit, the animal. This is how the woodworking joint is spelled. Okay, so that's now updated. And let's go back and see how that did, if that worked out good. Perfect. This is what I was hoping for. I was hoping that it would be facing the wrong way. And so you can see maybe in this, here's part D over here. See how the rabbit's facing in towards part C? So we need to get this spun around. And so we can do that by using this move again. And so we don't want bodies because all our parts are drawn as components. And then we have all these different options, and really what we need is a rotate. Okay, and so it asks us to select the axis now. And I haven't even, let's do this first, I messed up. So click where it says select right here under selection, and we have to choose our component that we want to work with. And now it asks us to choose the axis. And I'm just going to use this front edge right here. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of guide it, start moving it where I want it to be. But I'm actually going to type in here then 180. And you could do a 90-degree rotation. You could do any kind of rotation that you need for your part. There's lots of ways to do that. But that works for me now, okay? And I'm going to hit OK on that. And you can move things if you need to or whatever you got to do. And now we only have one part left to edit. And that is this part E. And we just got to cut this corner out, 1.5 inches in from the edge, 1.25 inches down from the end, right there, and it goes all the way through. And so let's open up our part E. We're going to right click right on the top right here, and we're going to create a sketch. And we're going to just cut this corner out. So I'm going to hit R for rectangle, start there, and I'm just going to drag it out. Click it anywhere, and I'm going to use the dimension tool this time. I know I have done that differently in the past. So I dimension from this line to this, and so in from the end was 1.25. And I can hit enter. And then dimensioning from this to this edge should be 1.5. And enter. Finish sketch. And then we want to extrude that out of there. So we're going to select that. Start dragging it down, and we want that to go all the way through. So we're cutting that all the way through, hit OK, and you can see that's there. So now we need to save that piece, and we can call that rabbit added. OK, close that tab out, and go back and update that. And we'll see it did cut out the right one this time. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, when we're moving all of these parts, what we have to do is we want to say one of these is going to stay, we're not going to move it. So let's make our part, what would this be, C, our stable one that doesn't move. So I'm going to go up here, I'm going to right click it, and then I'm going to select ground, and it gets this little pin put in it. And so now that one shouldn't move. We then move everything else accordingly to this one, okay? So how are we going to do that? Let's go in here to our move tool. We're on components, which is good. It asks us to select which part we're going to move. So let's start with this one, part D. And so far we've used a lot of these free moves where we just scooch things around. What we're going to do is do it differently though. We want to go from point to point, okay? And it asks first, where's the origin point? So I want this corner right here to match up to the top corner of this piece. It's actually going to go right on that corner. So to select my origin point, we're going to click right there on that corner, and then it automatically moves to the target point. Okay, what's your target point? It's actually right there, and you can see it snaps down there. We're going to hit OK. All right, now we have some things that are moving here. Everything moves still. So I clicked those and moved them, and we don't want that. So I'm going to hit undo and get those back where we want them. We want these two parts to stay together now. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to Assemble. Click the drop-down arrow, and we're going to go to an as-built joint. All right. Now, what kind of joint do you want to select or create? For us, we're going to go with a rigid joint. So we're going to leave that alone. So for components, I'm going to select this one and this one. So I'll have two things selected, and then I hit OK. And now if I move one of these, they stay together. And that's what we want to do, is we want to get those to kind of start sticking together. Okay, got that done. Now what we need to do is move these other ones around. So let's go back to move. All right, we're going to select this one, and we're still in our point to point, which is good. That's where we want to be. Okay, for our origin point, let's get this corner. So I had to click this one, select here, in order to be able to choose this component. Then it automatically brought me to target point. So I snap that one together. We're going to hit OK. And then we're going to go to Assemble, As-Built Joint. And the shortcut to get to this would be Shift-J. Asks us which components, this one and this one. I'm selecting both components. And you can see that everything else kind of fades away, letting me know that I have these two selected. And we're going to hit OK. Now we got to move this one. So we're just repeating a lot of this. This is the one we're going to move. I got to click right here. And we're going to go from this point to that point. Hit OK. And now I'm going to hit Shift-J all at the same time on my keyboard to get to this as-built joint with a shortcut. And I'm going to do this and this. And hit OK. And now everything should be locked together as it is. Okay. Lastly, now we just have to add this one in there. So move, select this, get our origin point. I can use this one, and then my target point is right there. And you can see how everything kind of comes together nicely. And we can hit OK. So now that's moved in place. And we just need to then do a Shift-J and as-built joint again. So you can hit Shift-J on your keyboard, or you go up here and click on it, whichever you prefer. We want this one and this one, and it doesn't matter. You could pick this middle one to this. As long as it's rigidly connected to some of these parts, you're going to be good. Hit OK. And now everything is together. And that is what we want for this video, this assignment. All right, and so what we can do now is save this. So it's just, I've already saved it once, but now it says okay. I'm going to put edits, made, and assembled. I'm going to hit OK. And we can just take a screenshot of this and turn it in the same way you have everything else in the past. So I have mine pinned, but you might have to go down here and hit snipping tool. We want to be in rectangle, and I'm going to do the full screen, just like that. File, save as, And let's go to my downloads. And last time I called this a first year project, simple assembly. I'm going to take out that that simple word and type in final assembly. And now we're going to save that. And then that screenshot's what you'll turn in. I can close out Fusion. I've got everything updated, saved, taken my screenshot, and it looks like this now. And that is it for today.